Is it they call that retrocausality, I believe?
Sounds good.
Is it they call that retrocausality, I believe?
Sounds good.
Three, two, one.
If anyone has an ear, let him hear.
Welcome to Open Your Reality. My name is Chad, and today we have a very, very special guest on. His name is John Kerwin, and his YouTube channel is Wake Up or Else. Welcome to the show, John. A lot of stuff. We're going to get into Mandela effect because you've been down this rabbit hole how long now?
About 7 years. The Mandela effect was clearly foretold in the Bible. The Mandela effect was clearly foretold in the Bible, Bewitched. The Matrix has got them. They're bewitched. We're not, it's not a surprise. So they're bewitched. Sam Adams has recognized me as a guru. And so I wanted to receive his coronation here. I stop my screen. So this is my guru attire. And so I want to thank you very much, Sam, for recognizing my greatness, that I have become the guru. Among the Mandela Effect community. And he also mentioned my sidekick, Mark. And so, Mark, I wanted to make sure that from this point forward, that you are always walking 3 steps behind me, as now I have been anointed as a guru by Mr. Sam Adams. Thank you very much.
If anyone has an ear, let him hear.
Or this doesn't fit with your religion, God's word can't change, well, fuck you. The fact of the matter is it's changed retroactively all the way back to its origin point. The reality of the situation. I don't care if it's your Catholic box. The words in your book have changed retroactively all the way back to its origin point. So you can say it's the word of a god. You could say it's the word of man, AI, time-traveling fucking Terminator robot from the future, a fucking dog, a fucking dog, a fucking dog. I don't care who you say wrote it. The fact of the matter is it's changed. So you can try and put all this shit on top of it because of the fucking indoctrination that you have to tell us why it can't be, why it can't change. But the fact of the matter is it did, and most of you know it, and you're lying, and you're lying, and you're lying. Fuck that guy too. That guy's a hardcore Mandela effect denier, very aggressive about it. Sorry, they're liars. They're lying to you because they feel threatened. You're gonna threaten their faith. Fuck your faith. Shit's changing. They know it's changing, right? Or this doesn't fit with your religion, God's word can't change, well, fuck you. The fact of the matter is it's changed retroactively all the way back to its origin point. I don't care if it's your Catholic box. The words in your book have changed retroactively all the way back to its origin point. So you can say it's the word of a god, a fucking dog. I don't care who you say wrote it. The fact of the matter is it's changed. Indoctrination that you have, why it can't change, but the fact of the matter is it did, and most of you know it, and you're lying. The fact of the matter is it's changed retroactively all the way back to its origin point. Fuck your faith. Shit's changing. They know it's changing, right?
So 7 years ago, you got into this. And so your wife, what happened there? Because your wife wasn't on the same page. Did you start talking to her about these things and she wasn't receptive?
And, I'm like a lot of folks. When you first find out some major thing, for me, I found out that was my entry into the rabbit hole. But what happened to me and what happens to a lot of people, and most of the people accept it because they're bewitched. The Matrix has got them, and they still accept it. The filter drops down even farther. A delusion. It comes out of a lot of pain and a journey through discovering these things, and then having a spouse who did not discover these things and ended up at where she asked me to leave because of my beliefs.
in what we're talking about here, we're talking about people that are waking up to the truth, kind of like Neo from the Matrix.
So the unconvinced is people that don't know and don't want to know. And then there's us, because we started saying, what else isn't true? Changes. What happens then is your spouse, your children, or your friends are looking at you like you're obsessed, which in a way is true. And very often we go, fire hosing people. I sure did. Certainty is a faculty of the human soul that drives behavior. Like the missionary forsakes all and goes to the jungle of Borneo because they believe that the natives need to hear the gospel. I mean, it drives human behavior. And so when we come into this experience, now the problem is this type of event has never happened in human history. A lot of what you're discovering is bad news. It's very threatening. The power structure is not nice. And so you kind of shift over to a war footing where you're no longer able to just do life like you've been doing it. And you suddenly take on a whole nother level of destiny and a sense of duty. And we've got to do something. And you start becoming an activist. Meanwhile, the spouse is more concerned about landscaping and bowling and, doing life. And you're like, I kind of got off the bus. And most of the people accept it because they're bewitched. The Matrix has got them, and they still accept it. The filter drops down even farther. A delusion. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 talks about strong delusion that comes on you when you are willfully ignorant. That's what it's like part of the bewitchment. The Matrix is both physical in its construct, but it's also metaphysical. So they're working us over, man. But somehow, there is a great awakening. The world's waking up, and thank God, the Schumann resonance of the earth is going off the charts, and God's got all these prophecies that he gave us that are coming true. Like the Mandela effect was clearly foretold in the Bible. We're not, it's not a surprise. So it's incredible, man. It's such an incredible time to be alive. What we're seeing.
Yeah. What was your first experience with the Mandela effect? What was your first Mandela effect?
See, the Monopoly guy. That was what got me. The Monopoly guy had a monocle. Okay, but somewhere in there, Mandela popped up. That was back when the algorithms were still sort of genuine on YouTube. So I had a thing come up on my feed, and didn't take me long to thing. The Mandela effect is not an intellectual thing as much as it's a spiritual thing. Most people that accept it the first one or two examples, they go, oh my gosh, this is real. If you don't get it in the first pass, that's when that filter comes down, because you start rationalizing how improbable it is. And then it becomes harder for you to see it, because we'll show hundreds of examples to people and they'll just blow it off. So it's very difficult to accept. But when you look into it, we actually have 7 different kinds of proof, not just our memories. And one of them is probably most compelling to me is flip-flops. Okay, this happened 4 times that we know of, where the entire community, Chad, watched 4 different things change. We made videos about it, and then it changed back again, right in front of us.
Well, give us an example. What are you referring to specifically?
The first one was Flintstones, the cartoon. I mean, I grew up watching the Flintstones. Everything in there is a rock. So it's Flint is a rock. Yeah. Bedrock, Barney Rubble, Mr. Slate, everything's a rock, right? So we woke up one morning. I'll never forget it. Somebody emailed me, have you seen Flintstones? I looked at it. Everywhere on the internet was Flintstones. There's no T. All right, now before you start saying it's a government psyop and it's Photoshop tricks, blah, blah, no. You haven't done your research. Okay, we went into the Walmarts. We looked at the Walmart lunchbox and it had no T on it. So whatever this is, it's not just happening on the internet. It's happening in the real world. And this is the mind blow. When a Mandela effect comes into our consciousness, and it is a consensus, everybody has the same memory. What has happened is it has always been that way. In other words, when we looked at the trademark for Flintstones in that moment of time or whatever it is, the original, all the way back to the original, there was no T. So in other words, it didn't change like 10 years ago. And then before that, it was Flintstones. It was always Flintstones.
They call that retrocausality, I believe.
Sounds good. But it freaked us
The
out.
idea, yeah, the idea that it's always been that way.
Yeah. So how do you fake that? You can't. And then we watched it one day, I forget when, but all of a sudden people started texting me and emailing me, John, it changed back again. That was, I think, the first time we ever saw a flip-flop as a community. This is, I don't know how many people, hundreds of thousands, certainly hundreds of thousands, because there were channels I remember researching. I found 4 or 5 channels on YouTube with over 100,000 subscribers each that were all talking about Mandela almost exclusively. So this is not a handful of crazy people in their mom's basement and is being amplified by the internet. What you're discovering is bad news. It's very threatening. What I believe, Chad, they're bewitched. The Matrix has got them, a delusion. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 talks about strong delusion that comes on you when you are willfully ignorant. That's what it's like part of the bewitchment. The Matrix is both physical in its construct, but it's also metaphysical.
And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Take heed that no man deceive you.